Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Young boys exposed to sexual behaviors. Now, I always get people sending me stuff or tagging me somewhere, and especially on Instagram. Now, one of my peoples and stuff sent me something. I'm gonna shout him out. D Harlem. He sent me a video. And it showed several young boys under the age of 10 dry humping some adult women, right? Dry humping adult women, right? I thought about it in light of the big hoo-ha over R. Kelly, right? Because I've watched the first couple episodes of it. Well, part of it. I kind of fell asleep during the second one. It's like yawn. It's like, yeah, it's been 20 years. Y'all already knew what this dude is about, right? And we won't get into his record sales going up. But, so I had already stopped dealing with his ass, man. But here's the thing. In the first episode, it was brought out that R. Kelly was molested when he was young. Molested, and it ain't say by who. Now, sometimes people want to assume it might have been a man, right? That's the feminist narrative. But it could have easily been a woman, or it could have been just like that situation in the video I saw on IG. Some young boys humping some adult women. And they might think it's cute or anything, but here's the problem with that. Here's the problem. What happens to these same little boys? Okay, they under the age of 10. What y'all expect they going to do? First of all, they going to go out and find little girls their own age. And that's assuming like their neighbors or something don't like try to get a piece of them. Some female neighbors or something, which happens a lot. Or, they get to high school and, their teacher take a liking to them. Right? But what happens they get older? These kids are already sexualized. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to all of a sudden turn 18 and, find Jesus, Allah, the great pumpkin and decide, we're going to be good guys now? No, these are the future players. These are the future players. These are future guys who might turn around and say they're going to mess with some young girls. Right? They're going to mess with some young girls. And this ain't trying to put this on women, but it's just to say, look, even with that R. Kelly thing, it's a bigger issue. Like everybody wants to talk about mute R. Kelly and whatnot. But I'm like, there's a bigger issue going on here we need to deal with, or you got about 1,000, several thousand R. Kellys out there. And some willing participants and some young girls. Some willing participants. Right? A lot of people don't want to talk about that, but just like you got those little boys exposed to sexual behavior, you got some little girls exposed to sexual behaviors, and they ain't all just some like innocents playing with milk and cookies and stuff. So you basically have little kids exposed to sexual behaviors, but then when you get something like an R. Kelly or something else or some of these other things that happen, or teachers, messing with their students or something, we acting outraged, want to get at the individual. And I'm like, you know what? We got to start looking at the whole issue. It's a community problem. It ain't on the men. It ain't on the women. It's on us. It's on us. I mean, look, okay, like with the video I saw, okay, you got these young boys grinding these older women. These women look like they're damn old enough to be their mothers. And it would have been bad enough if the little girls were the same age, but these are women old enough to be their mothers, and they just like, oh yeah. And I'm like, please. In fact, I remember seeing one video of some 14-year-old dude doggy styling some like grandmother. Talking about, hey, hurry up, don't let my grandkids catch me. Like, wait a minute. So we got all this happening, but we're not talking about it. We're not addressing it. Like, I want to hear the Me Too people talk about it. I know they ain't, but but seriously, if we want to look at that issue, we got to look at the big picture. Like I said, I looked at the first episode and a half of the R. Kelly thing, and I said, well, this is just a cycle. Probably it was likely an older woman who probably molested him or something. And I don't know what it did to him, but that dude probably said, you know what? And this happened, and this is proven by psychologists. They go back and say, well, you know what? That person had power over me. I'm gonna do this to somebody else. And it's usually the case. It's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. And it's a vicious cycle that we can't sit around and point to the other person and say, well, y'all doing this or y'all doing that. And that actually happens a lot. Even with this video, even though I said it's a us problem, somebody gonna say, yeah, these women doing this and that. But I'm like, well, you know, some guys doing some shit. Both sides. So what the issue we have to address and really talk about, don't point the fingers, but we gotta talk about it. And we know this stuff. We know this stuff is happening. Some of y'all know this happening in the family. I guarantee I got people listening. They probably seen something like some little boy grinding up on some little girl, probably in the family. Or, you know, in the family, like at some family gatherings, there's always that uncle and aunt that like the little kids might want to like avoid. You know, that uncle who might be a little bit too touchy, or that aunt who might be a little bit too kissy. And the little kids know it, but they ain't gonna say anything because in fact, if they say something and the parents know, the adults know. Even with that thing with R. Kelly, where the fuck were the adults? You know, where are the adults in this? When, like, even with you showing all that stuff, like I say, with the young boys grinding up on these women, who the hell filming them? I mean, some of these were at some public things. A couple of them were at some public things, or even one I saw, this little kid looked like a toddler humping on a woman. Could have been his mother or something. Because I can't imagine some total stranger letting that happen. And I actually seen an instance where a woman said she didn't want her son to be a fag or something, so she was allowing him to hump on her. But then when that same little boy goes and humps some little girl somewhere or catch some little girl somewhere, then it's going to be like, boom. And this ain't just some social media thing. Shit, I seen stuff like this when I was little. There's a lot of stuff about myself I don't talk about that I saw and I witnessed. A lot of stuff. So sometimes people got to look at the big picture. See, we don't want to dig deep. You know, we want to go after like some individual or something, right? You know, everybody want to be like mute R. Kelly and all that stuff. It apparently ain't working since his record sales are going up. But even then, it's like, why don't we talk about the bigger picture? You know? Why don't some of these women and stuff talking about Me Too and whatnot, oh, why don't they talk about the bigger picture? This is a cultural, systematic thing. And it ain't just in the black community. Let me be clear on that, because I know some people say, this is the black people. No. I talk to a lot of white people. I got one friend. And of course, I'm not going to call her name, but the molestation her and her sisters faced at the hands of her uncle. In fact, she don't even like using that term for her uncle. She's like her mother's brother. They don't even use it. And it was just terrible. And that's happening. These were whites. All right. Just for those who want to blame black men or black women for it, these are whites. And that shit happens a lot. Probably in some Hispanic community, a lot of stuff. This is systematic. So if we really want to stop the next R. Kelly, if we really want to stop it, we need to start addressing those issues. I mean, and you know the place to start, you don't start by asking like some academics to deal with it, some politicians, some ministers. You start in the family. Now, some of y'all know y'all kids being molested or something, or doing some stuff. Shoot. A lot of people say they told their mothers. A lot of people grow up, they say they told their mothers, they told their fathers, but because it was some uncle or grandfather or something. Shoot. And I mean, you know, they don't want to do anything. No, we can't do anything. That's Pop. I tell you what, Pop would die in my hands. Pop would die. I'm that type of parent. I'm like, my son said, oh, this person or this relative touch him, I kill the bitches. I would kill them. There ain't no ifs, ands, and buts to it. There ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. But a lot of parents ain't thinking like that. So that's where it started. It got started in the home. We started addressing that. Like those young boys I saw in those videos, I got to question that. I'm like, where the parents at that? Hell, if you want to bring it back to R. Kelly, where the parents at? Now, a lot of them, they were looking for the come up. Let's be real on it. Yeah, we see this shit happening. We know it's wrong. How many people turning a blind eye? Like I said, because it's a relative, because it's a celebrity? Nah. If we're going to address it, if we're going to get outraged over some celebrity, no, we need to nip this shit in the bud. And everybody, got to take everybody, men and women, got to take responsibility for whatever they can do. Everybody can do something. Like I said, if I saw it, or my sons came back and said something, well, my way of dealing with it might not be what society wants. I wouldn't give a fuck. I'd still deal with it, right? But we have to, as a community, deal with the bigger issue. You know, as a community, because that shit wasn't cute. I bet you some people thought it was cute, like some young boys grinding up on these older women. That shit wasn't cute. One kid, he could barely get up on the woman's ass or something. I'm like, are you kidding me? Ain't something, man, you like, boom, man. Like I said, there's some shit I see. There's a lot of shit I seen with regard to that. It might have experience that I don't talk about. So, anyway, right? That's all I got. But seriously, it's something that needs to be addressed. I mean, like I said, address it first within your families. If y'all know something, some whispers. In fact, one of my mentors said, he said this for the women should be doing this, but it really needs to be the males too. Like the elders, the patriarchs, the matriarchs, when they get a family gathering, they probably, whoever's in charge, as long as they ain't the one doing it, but yeah, that could be an issue, but they need to gather the matriarch needs to gather all the women together and have a conversation with them and create a space where they can like talk. All the men need to do the same thing with the males in the family. And if y'all got a break or y'all got to beat the shit out of or whatever, some perpetrator, it needs to be done. A message needs to be sent. Because I seen shit like that in my own family, extended family, mess up some cousins and stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, we got to deal with this whole thing. So, think on this. Peace.